Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So there is one guitar brand that for years and years and years I have wanted to check out this brand, and that is Michael Kelly guitars. I have never owned one before, but I have always run into these guitars like at a guitar store or at the NAMM convention, and the brand has been around for a really long time. And I always wondered, why isn't this brand more well known? Why don't they have more sort of mainstream brand recognition? Okay, so finally I have one of these guitars. So let me show you this. This is a Michael Kelly Patriot Decree in the open pore red finish. So first off, this guitar is very affordable. It's $429. And at first glance, you might think, well, this is just another Les Paul style guitar. But it actually has some really cool specs that kind of separate it from the average single cut style guitar. First, let's talk about the wood. Now, this is a set neck design, and the body and the neck are mahogany. But check out the top here. The top is a wood called sunkai, and it's a little bit along the lines of teak wood. And what's great about it is it has this beautiful deep grain, which works really, really nice for these open pore satin finishes. Now, as you can see, it's an arch top body, and it has a cream binding on the body as well as all the way up the neck. Now, they have this model available in a couple other colors, and those have binding as well, although they're black binding, which is a little bit more subtle. You can see that in the pictures here. Okay, now for the neck, we've got 22 frets on an ebony fretboard. These are medium jumbo frets. And up here on the headstock, we have a graphite nut and a nice set of Grover tuners. Now with the electronics and controls, we've got another cool feature because, as you can see, this is a pretty standard control layout of the 2-volume, 2-tone, and 3-way toggle switch. But the 2-tone controls down here are actually push-pull pots, both of them. So you can split the coils on both the neck and bridge pickups. Also with the neck, it's a satin finish on the back of the neck, which always makes it really smooth when you're shifting your hand around. It has a nice carved neck joint here. Also, the shape of the neck is like a shallow C shape, so it's very comfortable and very modern feeling. Okay, so there's a bunch more specs I want to go over on this, but first I want you guys to listen to how the guitar sounds, especially with these coil splitting options we have. So we'll go ahead and plug it in. But real quick, guys, as always, if you enjoy videos like this, checking out cool, affordable guitars, and you have not already subscribed, please consider subscribing right now. Okay, so I'm going to plug this into my trusty Fender GTX 100 amplifier. We'll go through a few different tones from the amplifier so you can really listen to how this thing sounds. All right, let's plug it in and check it out. Okay guys, so let's talk about the sound and the playability of this guitar, and then there's also a few more specs I want to mention. So as far as the sound, one thing that really impresses me about this guitar is how articulate it is. Now it's a very responsive guitar. The neck feels really good. There's no choked notes or anything like that, and just the feel of the neck and the tone from the pickups, the notes just sort of jump out. It's a very sort of effortless guitar to play. But one thing that really helps with that is how each of the notes, like when you're playing chords, each of the notes, you can hear them independently. So it's a guitar that really sort of brings out the nuances in your playing. Now, if you've watched any of my past videos, you might know that I'm a big humbucker guy just in general. And these pickups, to me, sound really good. These are very traditional sounding humbuckers. These are the Michael Kelly brand pickups in here. But I'm really impressed by these coil splitting options, like in particular, the tone that you get out of these things. Because sometimes when you're coil splitting a humbucker to get a single coil sound, sometimes you don't really get the same sound that you would get from a true single coil pickup. But I think this setup here, this guitar, does a really, really good job of that. And one thing that is especially cool about this control setup with the coil splitting is you can have one pickup coil split and the other in humbucker mode. And a lot of guitars, even guitars that have coil splitting, you can't do that because you'll just have one tone control or maybe a mini toggle switch that will control all of the pickups on the guitar simultaneously. But this one, we can have the coil splitting set up like on the neck pickup, but then keep the bridge pickup in the humbucker mode. So again, this model is called the Patriot Decree, and there are 3 different color options in this sort of sub-model. But in general, the Patriot line of guitars from Michael Kelly Guitars is pretty, it's a pretty wide line of guitars. There's a lot of different finishes. There are some guitars that have different brands of pickups, some that have, a different, quilt maple tops and all that kind of stuff. So I think if you're looking for one of these guitars that is affordable and accessible, this is a great choice. But if you have a little bit more money to spend, you can step up to one of the sort of fancier, flashier versions of the Patriot. And I do want to give a big shout out to Michael Kelly Guitars, the company, because they did send me this guitar. But honestly, it is a brand that I've been wanting to check out for a long time, and I'm glad that it didn't disappoint me. And if I had to compare this brand to some others, it kind of, the feel and build quality sort of reminds me of some of the nicer LTD guitars from ESP, or even some of the kind of the mid to upper range BC Rich guitars. And price-wise, these guitars are gonna be in that range. They're in the sort of like, maybe $300 to $1,000 range right in there. So if you're like me and you've been curious about these guitars for a long time, I definitely want to encourage you to check these out, because aside from the Patriot model guitars, the single cut ones, they have a bunch of other stuff as well. They've got like Tele style and Strat style guitars and even some semi-hollow bodies. Okay guys, but what do you think about this guitar? And if there are any Michael Kelly Guitars owners out there watching this video, what do you think of the guitars? What has your ownership experience been like? I always love to hear that stuff, so be sure to leave your comments down below. I will put a link for this guitar down in the video description. I will also have a link for my Fender amp, that's the GTX 100, down there as well, and my new instructional program, my social media, all that good stuff. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.